I think that's what intuitive eating allows people to do. And so when you have some sort of knowledge base of it, if you're not following it like full on, full time, and you're doing some tracking because maybe your goals right now require you to do some form of tracking or following a meal plan, if you get some exposure and practice to that, I strongly believe vacation nutrition becomes very easy. It's very simplified because, like Kate said, if you want to have, say, potato salad or whatever, and maybe it's higher in fats than what you're typically, using at home. Maybe it's a food that you don't always have availability to. And maybe there's this connotation around the food that it's quote unquote bad, just from like societal views. And you want to have the okay to have it on vacation. If you're focusing on your portion control and what you do with intuitive eating, you're going to be able to eat that food really mindfully and not really have any issue regulating your intake of that food. But if you are somebody that struggles with regulating your intake of food, that's a deeper rooted issue that needs to be addressed with the right professionals and teams. So I think that's also important to acknowledge because now, like the past few years, as I've been incorporating intuitive eating with my clients, vacation and travel is no longer a stressful situation for them because you're not going to look back 10 years from now and be like, I'm so glad I followed my macros. I'm so glad I followed my meal plan. Like, no, you're going to remember grandmother's, amazing blueberry cake. And like, that's what remember. It's not going to be like, oh, I hit my freaking plan. I hit a new low, quote unquote, if that's your goal, if that's the direction in life you're headed with your fitness, if you're trying to lose weight. But don't let that goal of weight loss or whatever it may be keep you from being present. Honestly, like, obviously, you're going to have a great time in Florida, but that is a lot of travel, like back to back to back. You are
Yeah.
going to be tired. You're not going to leave the house.
I haven't had like 2 weeks straight where I wasn't going anywhere. And I'm like, especially with this one, since so preface this, my sister and my mom had to cancel their vacation
Mm.
because of the hurricane that's going to hit the Cayman Islands. So that was a whole stressful situation last night trying to cancel it, refund it, everything. So they were trying to book another vacation for the same weekend and we couldn't get it figured out. So they said just cancel it, we'll reschedule at a different time. And my mom texts me this morning and says, "Hey, do you want to go to Florida next week after you get back from your family vacation with your boyfriend?" And I'm like, sure, why not?" So we're doing that. I am a world traveler. I've never traveled this much in my life.
She's exhausted.
I am just completely exhausted.
She needs a nap.
I need a nap. But you know what? Funny thing, side note, my naps have been 20 minutes long.
Look at you. They say that's like the best time frame for a nap, right?
Because I'm
Because
not in my REM sleep. Yeah. I'm
yeah,
like, I just honestly, I feel so much more energized and I'm like, I'm up. I'm ready. Take on the day.
yeah. I feel like, I don't know. John and I were talking about this the other day because before you guys came over on Saturday, I told you I was like sleeping all day. Like I couldn't stop napping. And do you ever like take a nap and you almost feel like hungover, like you feel worse after the nap? Like
So
that's how I
groggy.
felt.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I don't really like I like a nap in the moment, but I actually don't like napping. I'm like, I'd rather just over caffeinate.
I just see that's my I don't caffeinate as much as everyone else does, I feel like.
Yeah, no.
Like
And
I'll
it's
have
like,
one coffee, I'm like, it didn't really like do anything for me, so I'm just kind of
yeah.
there.
Yeah, no, I get it. Kind of, kind of. I don't know. It's not a good trait though to like be able to tolerate a lot of caffeine,
I just
but
have a caffeine. I'm just high all the time on life.
she's high all the time on life, baby. That's it. That's it. I love it. Oh my gosh. So we're going to Ossipee this Saturday. We leave, but we only have one more traditional work day really, and then we're off for like 10 days. So we're excited for that.
So
Uh,
excited.
we wanted to do a little pod on like navigating nutrition, exercise, and vacation and traveling because a lot of our clients will reach out and ask us how to approach it. And a lot of the times can feel a lot of anxiety about having to be out of routine, maybe having to be around different food sources and not have access to a gym. So Kate, I know you had a great conversation with a client. I think it was yesterday. Why don't you share a little bit about that? We'll kind of dive in.
Yeah, so one of my clients was trying to navigate what what she should do on a family vacation, if she should worry about getting to the gym, and what kind of like what my coaching style was for some of my clients going on vacation, and if they should worry about getting to the gym. And my ideology on that is, if it's going to make you stressed, if it's going to be a really stressor, like a big stressor when you are on this time of vacation and like mindlessness and all of these things, don't do it. Don't push yourself to do that, because that's just going to make the vacation so much more stressful, because you're worrying about outside factors, which when you're going on vacation, you're supposed to just not worry about anything, right? So my whole thing, I was telling her, I was just reassuring her, say, you're going to be very active during this family vacation. I know she goes tubing, she goes hiking, all these things. She's super active. So I'm like, if you take that into account, you're already getting all of that exercise. You're already getting all of that movement in there. So I was just kind of reassuring her that movement is shown in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be going to the gym. It can be functional.
Yeah.
I mean, and if
Absolutely.
you go tubing, your arms are gonna hurt. Your traps
A
are gonna be
workout.
sore, buddy.
Oh my gosh, I love it. No, that's such a good point. I think many of us associate movement with you must be in the gym. And like that's the only way to do it is you got to go to this sweaty, smelly gym. And I love the gym. I love the environment of the gym. Clearly, I keep showing up, but like it's not for everybody in general, number one. But also with vacation, you really shouldn't be, in my opinion, unless you're in contest prep, like you shouldn't be trying to plan your whole day around the gym. I'd say be very present with like whatever you're doing with your friends, your family, whoever you're visiting with, or even if you're just vacationing by yourself, be present in the environment that you're spending probably thousands of dollars to go visit. And so like be present with that. The gym will always be there for you when you get back. And like Kate said, there's so many ways that you're moving your body. Like we don't train during vacation week. I never have.
Ty does, but that is part of his routine. He enjoys that till the day he dies. So that's him. He's up at 6 in the morning. I said, okay, I'll be sleeping till 11. Thank you.
No, I'm with you on that. And that's where I mean I've always really respected his dedication to his training. And like with football, I get that it was a bit different. Like it was a bit more strict. But if I had to guess, he's probably still training this year, like he's probably still
Yeah.
gonna train
He
for a
just
week.
really enjoys it, and it's not a it's again, it's not a stressor on his life.
Yeah.
He wants to go do that. And if you have that kind of like, "Oh, I have to follow this plan," or "I'm paying money for this plan, so I feel like I should go do that." Having that reassurance from a coach saying, "Hey, if you're going on vacation, I don't want you to train. I don't want you to try to get to a gym 20 minutes away or an hour away if you're like in the mountains or whatever. It's just going to be so much more stress than it needs to be on a vacation. You're getting away from your routine for a reason. You're going on vacation for a reason,
Mhm.
not to continue what you were doing at home."
Yeah. And it's like if the gym fits in really easily for you, then that's so different. But we're talking like you feeling stressed about missing it when maybe you do want to take a little break from it. And like don't allow that stress to push you to drive said hour to the gym an hour away and like miss out on, making memories time. Um, and I think another thing to consider is your body needs a training break at some point in the year. And I don't really talk about when I was programming a lot of training, I kind of stopped talking a lot about training and I was so focused on nutrition. But like when you're training for years and years and years, you need to take some sort of deload or rest week, I think. And I like to use vacation time, travel time as an opportunity to implement those training breaks with my athletes and clients. And I think it works really, really well. Lowers psychological stress so they don't have to worry about it. And it also gives their body nice rest and recovery. So when they get back, they're feeling rested, their joints aren't achy anymore, and they're usually able to make more progress after that training break. So I like using vacation time as a training break if I can. So that's one, positive from taking full on rest from a physical perspective. But when it comes to nutrition, I think everybody's relationship with food is a little different in how they will navigate their vacation. But Kate, I'd love to hear your perspective on how you typically recommend clients to go about vacay and nutrition.
So I'm focusing big on whatever's going to make you less stressed.
Yeah.
Whatever, if this is the only options that you have, and you kind of have that mindset of, oh, I should, like an intuitive eating mindset of, oh, this is how much I should have on my plate and all these things. Yes, you should follow that, but it shouldn't be, oh, I can only have this. Like this is the only thing I have. I can only have plain grilled chicken and asparagus and that's it. If there's a pasta salad or a potato salad that has a lot of like mayo in it and you're like, "Oh, I really want that." Have a little bit. Don't fill up the entire plate, but have just a tiny bit. Like if you want to have some, have some. You don't have to be so strict on vacation. Like the whole point of vacation is to just kind of let go.
Mhm.
Not in a sense of like, "Oh, I'm just going to binge eat all week." Kind
Right.
of like, "Oh, I can take a little break from my really strict diet plan or my really strict training protocol and just kind of have that like you've built up all of this knowledge throughout the time that you've had, say like you did Strive 45 and you had the 6 weeks that you followed this plan. Now you're in a setting where you can apply that where
Mhm.
those rules aren't really implemented.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives you a little education to see, oh, where's your mind at? And how can you implement these new ideas and these new strategies in a setting where not much is controlled around you, because obviously on vacation if it's like a potluck dinner, like everyone's bringing things. I know we do that in Ossipee where everyone just kind of brings stuff,
Mhm.
and you're clearly like not bringing the entire meal, so you can't really control that. And I think it's really important for someone to have that training almost. It's a physical training, it's a nutritional training, and it's also a mental training.
Yeah.
And implementing those ideas into a vacation time where things aren't controlled is really important.
Yeah.
And I think it gives you a good baseline to like when you get back, you're like, okay, like this is either something that you did wrong, you didn't really do anything wrong, but if they thought they did something wrong, they can they can almost like go back to their coach and say, "Hey, this is what happened. Like this is how I felt about it." And usually the coach is like, "It's okay. It's going to be okay." One, a vacation is probably not going to be more than 2 weeks, so 14 days out of how many? 6 months.
14-day vacation. I mean, I'm getting
Or
close. 10 days.
that's like the most I've ever heard anyone take a vacation. But
No,
like say
that's
like 5, usually like a vacation's like 4 or 5 days.
Mhm.
4 or 5 days out of however 180 days, I don't know what 6 months is. But
Mhm. Don't ask me math questions. I know there's
I was
360.
going to say what's the percentage because I can't do it in my head.
No, don't ask. I'm the wrong girl. Wrong girl.
Wrong, both wrong girlies for that one.
Math is what I
Um, but if you think about it, it's only 5 days out of 180.
Yeah.
And by the end of that 180 days, you have these ideas in your head, you
Mhm.
know what to do. You've been educated on it. You've implemented all of these things. And I think that's what really helps people on vacation is the education that they've learned, they've
Mhm.
accumulated um, from their coaching and from their plan. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think when it comes to navigating like nutrition and I'd be curious to hear for you and your clientele, like how many people you have tracking, how many people you have intuitively eating, and people that you might have following a meal plan. I know for every client that I work with now, they're getting some exposure to intuitive eating. And a lot of my clients now, which is actually really exciting, are really moving in that direction. I'd say I'm probably 50-50 right now, maybe even a little bit more IE now than tracking, which is really cool. But when it comes to vacation and intuitive eating skills, you can use that vacation, like Kate said, as an opportunity to like put the skills and tools that you're following on a day-to-day basis to full on practice for a full week. And I think that if you feel fearful of that, I feel like you don't have enough trust or belief in yourself before going into the vacation from a mindset standpoint. Like there's some self-doubt. Like, I don't know if I can trust myself, quote unquote, trust myself around food without my food scale and without having to track it. Because if that's where you're at, in my opinion, I think that's a problem that needs to be addressed by the coach and like you as a team
Yeah.
and get you to a place where you can go on vacation and feel really low stress about food, have it be a part of the experience and not a worry or an anxiety the entire experience. And I think that's what intuitive eating allows people to do. And so when you have some sort of knowledge base of it, if you're not following it like full on, full time, and you're doing some tracking because maybe your goals right now require you to do some form of tracking or following a meal plan, if you get some exposure and practice to that, I strongly believe vacation nutrition becomes very easy. It's very simplified because, like Kate said, if you want to have, say, the, potato salad or whatever, and maybe it's higher in fats than what you're typically, using at home. Maybe it's a food that you don't always have availability to. And maybe there's this connotation around the food that it's quote unquote bad, just from like societal views. And you want to have the okay to have it on vacation. If you're focusing on your portion control and what you do with intuitive eating, you're going to be able to eat that food really mindfully and not really have any issue regulating your intake of that food. But if you are somebody that struggles with regulating your intake of food, that's a deeper rooted issue that needs to be addressed with the right professionals and teams. So I think that's also important to acknowledge because now, like the past few years, as I've been incorporating intuitive eating with my clients, vacation and travel is no longer a stressful situation for them. So I feel like for my coaching, I'm usually implementing intuitive eating, even if they typically track macros. And I say, try to let go of like wanting to make as much progress as humanly possible that week, because that's what we're here for. We're here to help them, make as much progress as they can during their time with us. But it's definitely a time to be more present and focus on making memories because you're not going to look back 10 years from now and be like, I'm so glad I followed my macros. I'm so glad I followed my meal plan. Like, no, you're going to remember grandmother's, amazing blueberry cake. And like, that's what you remember. It's not going to be like, oh, I hit my freaking plan. I hit a new low, quote unquote, if that's your goal, if that's the direction in life you're headed with your fitness, if you're trying to lose weight. But don't let that goal of weight loss or whatever it may be keep you from being present.
Exactly.
So,
I totally agree. For my clients, what I like to do is start them out as intuitive eating with the idea of in mind of when it comes time to summer and when it's like vacation time, they're going to use those tools. You're already implementing those so far, like so early in that once they get to that time, they know what to do. And they know like, okay, it's going to be okay. It's really just going to be okay. That's the whole mindset that you should have going into vacation
yeah.
is that it shouldn't be stressful to eat. It shouldn't be
No, exactly.
you should not be stressed when you're eating something. Eating's
Mhm.
supposed to be almost like a dopamine release, you know what I mean? Like
Eating's supposed to be enjoyable.
it's supposed to be enjoyable. You shouldn't be stressing about, oh, I should only have this much. Like there comes a point where portion control, yes, it's completely like that's what we should be doing. But if you're going too far in, you're too committed, you know what I mean? You're like, okay, I have to weigh this out now. That's going to a point of like a little bit of disordered eating, which is like understandable when you're in this mindset of like, oh, I've been training, I've been eating this right thing, I don't want to lose my progress. And people are really, really, really scared of losing their progress. And I think that's a big thing
Yeah.
where they think if they eat this one cookie, it's all gonna go to shit. Like your body's just done.
And
You know
it's
what I
like
mean?
what you do the majority of the time is what matters most. And having a cookie, I mean, I have a cookie. I think I have dessert every day now, intuitively eating, which I love. And, you know, people like put this, marker on like a cookie. Like, what do you think is going to happen so differently with that cookie than like your typical, I don't know, banana and toast and, peanut butter? Like, there's fats, carbs, and whatever in that meal. And then there's also fats and carbs in your cookie. And it's like your body knows how to handle that from both different sources. I think people like automatically assume when you take in something like a cookie, it's automatically stored as body fat.
Yeah, I agree.
But it can't be used as like fuel for your workout tomorrow or like to help your body like supply it with energy and recover. Like it can absolutely fit. That was probably the most liberating thing for me to learn as like a nutrition student, as a dietitian in my own relationship with food was just the way that the body is not going to just immediately turn on lipogenesis when you take in certain foods that we deem as bad. And it's like, well, why are those foods bad? And a lot of it is societal driven more than anything, if you really break down every single ingredient of the food. And that's something I do with some of my clients. But I think, keeping in mind what you're doing the majority of the time matters most. So if you're usually working out regularly, very good. Awesome. Love to see it. If you want to take a break during your vacation, that's totally fine. But that's okay. Same goes for nutrition.
Exactly. I also wanted to add, like, as you were saying, as a nutrition student, it was hard for you to learn kind of those intuitive being like a cookie isn't that bad. It's going to be okay. It's not going to go right to fat. I was so grateful that I kind of had that mindset already in college. And the things you learn in college is very educational. It's very black and white. And there's some professors where there will be bias in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And thankfully my professor had a little bit of bias like towards intuitive eating. Like, it's gonna be okay. It's like she was very like, it's okay if you don't track your macros. It's okay to have a cookie. It's okay to have a soda. Like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, like, I'm very grateful that I had that
Yeah.
professor, one, and two, I had that mindset of not focusing so much on really the mechanisms of what's going on in your body, because when you focus on that too much, you're going to hyperfixate on it, and it's just going to turn into like a whole spiral that you're going to go down, and you don't want to go down that. So once you have that mindset before you kind of start learning about those things, it's interesting to learn about them, but you know that, like, your mind also plays a role in this. Like, your brain plays a role in all of this.
Yeah. Yeah. The association of that good food versus bad food is so
Yeah.
taught, I feel. And I definitely had some professors that would really demonize food in like undergrad. And at that time in my life, I was like, okay, yeah, true. Like that's technically true what they're saying about this food. But then as you continue to progress and you learn more about the psychology of food, like disordered eating, eating disorders, you realize how unhealthy that fixation on the
Right.
perfect diet or perfect health can really end up in a way worse spot health wise.
Than
And
just
I
having it,
it's
than just
like,
eating the food. Yeah.
it's
Mind.
like trading one illness for another.
Right.
And it's just like, no. So finding the balance is important. Eat your fruits and veggies, do your thing,
Fruits
prioritize
are
your
yummy. Fruits are
yeah.
fruits are
Like,
nice to
make
eat,
them
but
taste good. Like,
yeah,
find one that you like and just think about what you can add to your plate while you're on vacation. Maybe you could add a side of veggies. Maybe you get the side salad that you always skip over. Sometimes that's me on vacation. Sometimes I don't want the side salad. But like add the veggies, like add to your plate, but don't take away from the experience. Like modify, add, and have that addition mindset.
exactly.
So yeah. Cool. I love it. How do you feel about alcohol and vacation? How do you typically recommend clients go about that?
Alcohol, I say, if you're having fun, if it's a social thing, do it. I mean, if you're in the mood, don't ever feel peer pressure to do it. Like, if all these people are drinking around you and they're like, have a drink, and you are just not feeling it, get a water. Or, like, you know what? You could get like a polar seltzer, drink that. Like, it's gonna feel the same way almost when you're drinking like a seltzer like that. Um but if you want to, do it. I mean, there's days where you're gonna be like, this is so fun, I want to keep drinking. Always mixing a water because summer is hot and you're going to be dehydrated.
It's
And
gonna take
you are not going to feel good at night in a hot room. It's not going to be great. So definitely, I think in moderation is always important year round. On vacation, you can kind of test the limits a bit. You're feeling nice. You're feeling free. You're feeling like not stressed whatsoever. So it's gonna be it's a harder thing to like steer away from, obviously. But I I'm not gonna say don't ever drink on vacation because guess what? I do. I definitely do.
yeah, I think I'm very similar in my recommendations. I'm like, just do what makes you happy. And that looks different for everybody. I think everybody's relationship with alcohol is a little different. It can be complex. And like, that's where I'm like, as a dietitian, from like a health perspective, I can give you info. But in terms of actual behavior choices, that's absolutely up to you and like how you want to go about things. I've been giving people the recommendation of like, try to stick to like 1 drink per hour if you can and try to hydrate during. For those that are now asking me, which is funny, like they're asking me, how do I modify my consumption of alcohol but not feel hungover the next day? That's a very common question I'm getting. And I think it's because the age bracket that I'm now working with is like definitely over 25. Like I'm working with like people in their 30s, like my age. And like now, like when you drink, like you feel
That
hungover.
hangover's gonna last like 2 days. Like
It
I've had a hangover last 2 days.
I think I was hungover from Zach Ryan for 2 days. And like, to be honest with you, like that was the middle of the week. So that totally screwed me up. But
Yeah,
like,
that's
I
a
wasn't drinking like crazy that day either. I stuck to my like 1 drink per hour basically rule. Maybe I had 2 margaritas at the concert a little quick together, but that was it. We were going to get rained on.
yeah.
So yeah, I
Fair.
feel, but one other thing that I've really honed in on is Pedialyte or some sort of like electrolyte solution the day of and the day after drinking. And I do find that that's helpful. So I will be bringing Pedialyte with me on my vacation. And Kate and I, we just like, we have a little, fun time throughout the entire week usually, but we both committed. We're like, we can't drink every day of vacation, which is good.
There was one year where we literally drank every single day, and I was fighting for my life at the end of it. I was like, I don't ever want to drink again. You say that and then you drink the next weekend. But
Yeah.
like
But
it was so like, okay, I'm done. I'm all done.
yeah, no. So we'll keep you guys posted on how we choose to utilize alcohol this vacation. I'm sure you're going to see plenty of funny little stories from us, but
Oh yeah.
keep you posted on how we navigated. But I would say definitely recommend 1 drink per hour. Allow yourself flexibility, stay well hydrated, eat, make sure you're eating. And that usually helps. And focus on making memories. Allow yourself this like 1 week or however long you're on vacation for to just have some fun.
You're with special people. If you're going on vacation with someone, they're most 9 times out of 10 you're gonna be close with them. So you want to spend time with them. Like you're committing your time with them. So you should, how do I want to say this? Just kind of like fully commit to them and not fully commit to other things that like should not be involved in this vacation.
Yeah,
That makes
yeah, like go all in on your relationships and your time with
the
people.
moments that you have with them.
Yeah, like memories, dude, memories. Because you're not gonna remember that you made it to the gym that entire week. You're not gonna remember those silly things that might seem really overly important at times because we can get in our head about that. But I definitely agree. Yeah. So
You're gonna remember wiping out on a knee board. That's what you're gonna remember.
I am not going kneeboarding. I'm not doing the tube. I never do. I am
I'm
not
gonna
a
try the knee board again this year. I think I've recovered enough from my back
you're
problem that I will be
if
okay.
you get a back problem from this and then you can't go to the gym when you get back, you're probably gonna be pissed. You're gonna be like, oh no, I was in such a good groove. You're gonna be so mad. No.
It's gonna be okay. I'll tell Jim not to go so fast.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
he knows
no,
stuff.
there was the only reason why I wiped out was because he like turned and I thought I was super cool and I went to like kind of do a jump almost on the wake.
You got
I
cocky with
did it
it.
and immediately went down like that and then my leg, this is my head, this is my legs. It's like that.
Oh my God, you scorpioned.
I literally did, I was a full circle. I was a full circle. That was my body.
Yeah, no, I don't do water sports. I sit on the boat.
Kelly does not do water sports.
You don't do water
I'm
sports.
the more adventurous one in the duo of us.
Yeah, she's
For that.
definitely more adventurous in that regard. I don't do water sports. I like to be in a more stable environment. Sometimes the boat even scares me a little bit if we go really fast. I'm
I
like,
know,
oh,
I don't like when we go like sideways. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna fall out. Jet ski though, I don't like.
yeah, well, yeah, the jet ski's dangerous. Jet skis are dangerous. I know people that are like probably way
So
better
scary.
versed in this, but I literally like I'm scared. Like even the thought of going on it, I might have to be like, no, I have to hang out with coppers or I can't go.
I literally, Ty will go so fast, and I'm like, you need to slow. Like, I'm going to jump. I'm gonna jump off out of just pure fear. Like, I'm afraid that we're gonna fall off, so I need to, like, be in control of when I fall off. But, yeah, when John fell off, I was like, it was a really funny moment, but
No.
no, I can't drive that thing by myself. What if that happens to me?
I just I just don't it's not what gets me going, okay? Like, I would much rather kayak, slow pace,
It's
slow row,
slow moving.
just, like, enjoy my time. That's all I really wanna do is, like, a nice little slow row my boat
Go
down.
fishing. We could all go fishing.
I would actually, I don't like fishing because one time I accidentally hooked a fish in the eyeball, and
Oh
I
my god.
felt so bad, I, like, wanted to cry because I guess that's supposed to never happen. It's supposed to go in the mouth because they can't feel their mouth, which I don't know how true that is, but I felt bad about it anyways, and then when I hooked it in the eye, I said, "I my fun is not fun enough to be hooking eyes out of animals." Like, I just, like, couldn't, like, I just felt bad, so I am retired, but I will go to support, so
That's so funny.
yeah. No, I wanna do a little kayak moment, but yeah, guys, so that's it. We hope that helps. We hope the little tips and tricks help. Um, we would love to be of help, outside of the pod if you have any questions, individually to you. And wanted to put out there that Kate is taking on clients for Strive 45 right now and one-on-one coaching. So feel free to hit her up with any questions regarding that. And I will be taking on new clients when we get back from vacation for one-on-one coaching, but get in on Strive 45 and we'll see you guys in the next one.